13 people shot on North Capitol Street early Monday morning in front of an 8-story apartment tower around the corner from a pair of nightclubs around another corner from a neighborhood where developers are trying to attract new residents to upscale condos and trendy restaurants. In the immediate wake of the shootings, Councilmember Wells, you were quick to point your finger at the nightclubs and suggested they be shut down. You walked that back yesterday. What was your initial train of thought, and how did it evolve during the past several days?
Well, first of all, it's incredibly shocking to have 13 people shot in a drive-by shooting. If you saw it on the YouTube video, it was one car after another, almost Chicago gangland style. And that's just not who we are as a city anymore. And I was shocked by it and was very upset about it. And, you know, when I was trying to understand why were there so many young people out at 2:15 in the morning on a Sunday night, someone said, well, you know, they just had an event over at one of the clubs at Fur. And so they were coming over from the club. And I know that there had been an extraordinary number of police calls and assaults related to the club. And I, you know, out of frustration and anger that we have to be able to keep our citizens safe. And we've got to be beyond the days of a drive-by shooting like this. Now, what I don't think for me, this is not about, you know, whether it's compatible in the neighborhood or not compatible. This behavior is incompatible with where we are as a city. And again, this is about 13 people getting shot. We could be talking about 13 people dead.
What prompted you to say to yourself that you might have overreacted in terms of the clubs? Because, you know, people in the neighborhoods don't like the rowdiness of those clubs, but there are rowdy clubs in Adams Morgan. There's starting to be some rowdiness on U Street and other places in town. Well, as you know, the city, on one hand, it wants the kind of the vibrancy of some of these places. On the other hand, you don't want people crowding out on the streets at 2 a.m.
Well, part of it is that I don't know what happened in the club. I mean, there's a legitimate question of, was I jumping to a conclusion or assumption? And I thought about that. You know, I know that there's a history of violence with the club, and I know that the club had just let out, and that it was circumstantial, and I want to be responsible. And so I don't know for a fact that this stemmed from a dispute in the club. And, you know, I asked the police chief, and she said, we don't have that information. So I wanted to be careful about that. And then also the focus for me is not the club. The focus is on the 13 people that got shot standing out on our, you know, street, you know, in eyesight of the Capitol. It doesn't matter whether it's eyesight of the Capitol or not, but the fact that we had 13 people shot in a drive-by shooting.